Elon Musk posted in X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, that there's duplicate social security numbers and there's a bunch of overpayments because of it. And then there's another story about millions of deceased people receiving social security benefits. So I want to talk about that today and fact check it. Who am I? My name is Ed Weir. I ran the third busiest social security office in the country. And right now in my semi-retirement, I help people throughout the country make sure they're getting all the benefits. I usually do a live Q&A several times a week, pretty much every day. 3 o'clock West Coast time, 6 o'clock East Coast time. So make sure you subscribe and join my next live Q&A. I'll help you make sure you're getting all the retirement benefits, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, and all the rest of it. Okay, let's go into this whole thing about duplicate social security numbers. Sorry, Elon, you might know rockets, you might know electric cars, but you don't know social security. Yes, there are people that have multiple social security numbers, and that's because they go out there and they use the wrong social security number. It wasn't necessarily issued. In the old days, before everything was electronic, sometimes there were duplicate social security numbers, but they're not duplicate payments. So the social security numbers is controlled by a system. It's called the Numident. An MBR, a master beneficiary record, which is the actual payment record, those are not duplicates. So, this story has been around for a long time. Let me tell you a story that goes back to the 1930s, where Woolworth, they were selling wallets, and the company that made the wallets decided to put a social security card in there, so you could see that a social security fit into their wallets. And they sold it to Woolworths throughout the country, and people thought it was their social security number. So about 40,000 people were using the same social security number for decades. The final one, I think it was the last dozen or so, was in the 1970s. So, but in terms of payments, now the Social Security Administration, they have that electronic system where they control the Numident, and so there's no multiples. There might be some legacy ones from the previous era before electronic, when it was paper. But in terms of payments, there's only one master beneficiary record. So if two people come in there and say, hey, this is my social security number, then the Social Security Administration has to figure out, okay, wait a second, you had the wrong social security number. When you worked at X company, you transcribed the number, transposed the number, and it was incorrect. It should have been the last two, should have been 1 2 instead of 2 1. So this is what Social Security employees call this scrambled earnings, and they just have to fix that so the person gets the right benefit amount. And I'm going to tell you in a little bit. I'm going to go to the 6.2 million people that deceased people, and after I finish that, I'm going to tell you how to protect yourself from making sure nobody else is working under your social security and it doesn't affect you negatively. But in terms of Elon Musk, no. Again, the old system, there might be ones left over from the old system that people are working on now, but they're not going to get paid. Two people are not going to get paid. If that person pops up, I take hundreds of thousands of claims, and I think I probably had 1 or 2 cases of those scrambled earnings over decades. So it doesn't happen very often. And again, when it does happen, we make sure we pay one record. You can only pay one record on the master beneficiary record. So Elon Musk, check out the MBR. Well, actually, you don't know what Social Security is about, so please don't get into Social Security because obviously you don't know what it is about. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about these 6.2 million. This 6.2 million deceased people, this has been a story since 2015, and this hashes out every now and you have to ask yourself, what's going on here? Why are all these stories about, this, that, the other, the fraud, and why are they going after Social Security? And the reason Social Security is having such an issue is because of immigrants. There is a long plan. If you go onto my YouTube channel, you can see the playbook that was developed in the 1980s to dismantle Social Security, to give your money, to give the Social Security Trust Fund and everything over to Wall Street. So this is the end game. This is part of it. You can't destroy what people love. And if people really like Social Security, they're dependent on Social Security, they support Social Security, Social Security provides awesome customer service, then when politicians, billionaires try to dismantle it and take it for themselves, people are going to be outraged. So what you do is you destroy people's faith in Social Security. You destroy customer service, and they're doing a phenomenal job at that right now. The Social Security Administration is at a 50-year low in terms of staffing. So this is 100% politicians trying to dismantle Social Security by a death of 1,000 cuts, and they're doing a pretty good job. And unfortunately, we're buying into it. We pretty much, we believe everything they said. Every time they tweet, "Oh my gosh, it's the end of the world," so let's just go ahead and give the money to the Wall Street. Okay, the 6.2 million people. That's a very old story. What it is the Social Security Administration cannot clean out a record. Again, the pneumadent. There are people there, they are not receiving benefits. You might have one person that is actually 112 years old receiving benefits, whatever the case may be. But those records are still there, but they're not necessarily active. They're definitely not in pay. 99.9% of them are not in pay. But Social Security cannot make those records inactive unless they get a corresponding death certificate. I'm sure you hear every now and then where the Social Security Administration actually kills off somebody and then they have to go in. Social Security calls it a resurrection. Social Security PR people said, stop calling it a resurrection. But anyway, Social Security employees still call it a resurrection, where they bring you back to life. And it's usually the funeral home or the coroner's office somewhere in the country. What happens is when somebody passes away, the funeral home or the coroner's office of that particular state sends it to the Social Security Administration. Social Security sends it to the Treasury. Treasury stops the benefits. If the benefit has already been paid out, the Treasury goes in there and grabs it and takes it. Anybody that has somebody that passed away knows that system. But Social Security cannot make those records inactive until they actually have a document. You know how to solve that? Politicians. Politicians pass a law that authorizes Social Security Administration to do that. It's easy. Pass a law, but why don't they do it? Because they want to bring this story up and scare everybody and tell about fraud and stuff like that. So you can, oh my God, Social Security there's these billions of dollars being get out in fraud. Is there a better alternative? And the politician, yeah, there's a great alternative. My buddies at Wall Street want to take over Social Security, and they'll do a bang up job. So that's the entire intent. But we're smarter than that. The regular viewers of my channel know these distractions from the real problems. Does Social Security have problems? Yes, the Social Security Trust Fund is running out. One of the main things to fix the Social Security Trust Fund is to raise the cap. And what do you do to raise the cap? What is the cap? There's a cap. If you make under $176,100, you pay Social Security FICA tax on every dollar you make. If you make over $176,100 in 2025, then you no longer pay FICA tax. You just pay it on what's under there. After that, you don't pay it on anymore. So Elon Musk and stuff like that, they don't want to save Social Security because saving Social Security would involve them paying more taxes like the rest of us. We pay it on every dollar. They don't. So they don't want to save Social Security that way, and that's the best way to save Social Security. You can look at the Social Security Trustees report and the CBO and everything I put in my YouTube description. That is the best way to save Social Security. Is it the perfect way? Is it going to give everybody extra $500 and get me my hair back or anything like that? No. And that's another thing politicians say. Well, if it's not a perfect solution, then we shouldn't do it. Let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And so the people that control everything, they don't want to pay the same FICA tax that we do, and therefore they are trying to start these pretty much BS stories, and we keep buying it and getting distracted. Hey, if you need help with Medicare, Medicare Advantage, Medicare supplements, Part D plans, make sure you reach out to my partners at Chapter Medicare. I looked for a place that would help y'all out, and Chapter Medicare knocked it out of the park. They've got excellent customer service. They look at every single plan in your area, and their help is always 100% free. Give them a call, and they'll see if they can help you out, and tell them Dr. Ed said hi. So we just need to stop that. Okay. Like I said, I do a regular, I said I was going to tell you how to protect yourself. So if somebody uses your Social Security number, and usually 99.9% it's the time it's somebody buys a car or opens up a bank account or something like that under your Social Security. So that's where the real fraud is. People stealing your identity and going out there and doing your credit report. Those that's 99.9% of the Social Security fraud. It's not Social Security. Social Security numbers should have never been used for credit reporting and credit cards and stuff like that, but that's the system. But it has nothing to do with Social Security. The only thing that Social Security is related to when it comes to that type of fraud is if somebody has your Social Security number and they work under your earnings. So somebody comes in the country illegally, or they use your Social Security number transposed, whatever, incorrectly, and they work at Walmart in Topeka, Kansas, and they pay into your Social Security and they increase your benefit amount. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. That's awesome. Don't don't because eventually that person's going to get caught. That person's, maybe if it's someone just using the incorrect, the Social Security number, they typed it in wrong. Eventually those people are going to come in retirement, get it corrected. The Social Security employee is going to correct those earnings, pay that person. And what happens in it, or if it's illegal, those, they'll eventually get caught, hopefully. And if your benefit amount is increased because someone else's work, and you've been collecting benefits for 4 or 5, 10 years, or whatever the case may be, and your monthly benefit amount has been increased because of someone else's work, then Social Security Administration is going to come after you and say, hey, you got an overpayment. You got paid $50 more a month than you should have. So over the last 5 or 10 years, you should have told us those earnings weren't yours. So we could have taken them off your record. And what happens is when, there's attached earnings, and there's billions of dollars unattached earnings, and Social Security, they have it in what's called a suspense file, kind of a limbo. So all those earnings that for some reason, people type in the wrong Social Security number, or people that work in the country illegally, people use fake Social Security numbers and they work in the country illegally, and that's the responsibility of those employers. Those employers are supposed to check what's called a system called E-Verify. And if Elon Musk wants to increase the efficiency of Social Security, I'm all 100% for that. Call me up. I can tell you a lot of places where the efficiency, we definitely need to address. One of the things is to make E-Verify mandatory. What happens is these employers, they want the cheap labor. So they say, well, if I run this person through E-Verify, they're probably not in the country legally, and therefore I can't hire them. And so they just don't do it. So E-Verify needs to be made 100% mandatory. If you're going to hire somebody, then you should. But the employers, they don't want to do that because they want the cheap labor. So if someone is working on your Social Security number, make sure you contact Social Security. Go into socialsecurity.gov, check out, set up a My Social Security account, check your earnings on a regular basis. And that's also how they determine how much your benefit is going to be in the future. But if you see something that's not correct, then just reach out to Social Security and says, hey, someone looks like they've been working under my, Social Security number, and, Topeka and Walmart, or whatever the case may be. And they'll take those earnings off your record and they will just put them in the suspense file. And these people that come in the country and work illegally under these fake Social Security numbers, it's estimated that they contribute $37 billion a year into Social Security, and they will never get that money back. So they come in the country illegally, even through a H1 or H2B visa, or whatever the case may be, and they overstay their welcome, they overstay their visa, and they continue to work under a Social Security number or a temporary number. And they pay into Social Security, but they will never get that money back unless they become a citizen or legal status later on. So it's estimated that $37 billion every year goes into the suspense and goes into the Social Security Trust Fund. So that is a beautiful thing. Thank you for the contribution. All right. So we really need to stop. We need to get serious about saving Social Security, and these distractions just don't help. They do not help at all. And politicians think we're idiots, and they keep rolling out these, distractions. Oh, these immigrants, are there immigrants receiving benefits? Not to a great extent. There might be the Office of Inspector General, follows those, but it's not going to save Social Security. There are going to be cuts in a few years because the Social Security Trust Fund is running out, and the reason it's running out is because, not everybody pays their fair share into Social Security like the rest of us. So, all right, that is it for today. And I will keep talking about those internet myths out there. Make sure you join my live Q&A. And if you need any help with Medicare, make sure you reach out to my partners there that kind of sponsor this channel, and they can help you out with all things Medicare. This is the January, February, March is also the open enrollment period. So if you have a Medicare Advantage, you can switch to a Medicare Advantage. Or if you take my advice and always look for a Medicare supplement first, you can actually get out of a Medicare Advantage and go to a Medicare supplement. Depending on your state, you might have to go through health underwriting. But always check out Medicare Supplement Plan N or Plan G first. But there is a price, a monthly premium for Plan N and Plan G. So that's why a lot of people go to a Medicare Advantage plans, which is all right. It's definitely better than just having Medicare Part A and Part B alone, unless you got a few $1,000,000 sitting under your mattress somewhere. All right. So hopefully we'll see you at the live Q&A. Make sure you subscribe, and y'all take care and take care of each other.